Welcome to Murder of Mayhem, episode 5. We are talking about the only woman on death row in Tennessee right now.
Very, very vicious woman.
This was a very, very brutal crime. And trigger warning immediately, there is a lot of violence involved in this. So if you are a sensitive viewer, please don't watch this because there is some brutal details involved in this. So we're going to go over this case and let's talk about her. Her name was Christa Gail Pike. She was born on March 10th, 1976 in Beckley, West Virginia, to two parents named Carissa Hansen and Emil Glenn Pike. We think it's Emil, E-M-I-L, maybe?
Pretty sure I don't know.
Emil? I don't know. You'd be surprised because, you know.
Nice.
Anywho, so this is where we start to get into her early life. Let's talk about that. Even before Christa was born, she really didn't have a chance. Her mother drank with her in utero, and she came out with organic brain damage from this drinking.
Already done, yeah.
So she didn't have a chance to start. Doctors are saying that it likely contributed to why she would be this way and murder people, basically.
Just so people at home know, TBIs, or traumatic brain injuries, usually cause all kinds of different things in patients. Mm-hmm. One of the main things and normal things that it causes is aggressiveness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People with traumatic brain injuries tend to be more aggressive or more violent than people without them.
Yeah. And she was even born prematurely.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't even ready to come out, and her mom was drinking all the time. I can't imagine. So almost instantly after birth, she was not with mom, of course, and probably for good reason.
Yeah.
But she was with grandma. Grandma had boyfriends strung along, and she was sexually abused. Mm-hmm. As far as Christa has told the media and things, you know, she said that she was sexually abused as a young girl.
2 years old.
Yeah, she was a baby.
She spanked her for everything. I would go in and I would find this baby crawling around through piles of dog stool all over the house.
Her mother chose partying and drinking and drugs over her and her father, who really, she had...
He just skipped.
Yeah.
He went and got the milk.
He did not want anything to do with Christa for the most part. So
he went and started another family, completely different family.
Right. And when she got sick of that, she'd go to her dad's, right?
Yeah. And
she would go back and forth. He would kick her out because he'd just get sick of her behavior, you know. Her grandma ended up dying in 1988. Christa was 12 years old at the time. So she did end up permanently going to her mother's house.
Right.
Which is kind of the downfall of Christa. Honestly, I feel like she would have been a little bit better had she had a little better upbringing. Her mom wasn't the best person.
Now, she had tried to stay at her dad's before she had been indefinitely at her mom's.
Yeah.
What happened there was kind of weird. From what I read, they said that there was some kind of abuse from Christa to one of the other kids in the house.
Right. So there was a lot of back and forth allegations.
She claims that she suffered abuse in the household. So it's kind of a he said, she said, but apparently there were some things going on in that house too. Mm-hmm. But her father got so angry with her that he kicked her out indefinitely.
Right. Right. But her mother, let's get back to her. She was a nurse.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, she didn't have a single nurturing bone in her body because she didn't help Christa. She didn't help her study. She didn't care about school. She was just negligent in general.
Yeah.
And she just let Christa do whatever the fuck she wanted to do. It didn't matter.
There's some people that should have kids,
Yeah.
and there are some people that really should not.
Her mother also had a very physically violent boyfriend, and he would beat Christa with a belt over and over, daily, and nobody helped her. This poor baby, she never stood a chance.
She had a really terrible upbringing, that's for sure.
Right. And while it's no excuse to commit a murder,
definitely not.
None whatsoever.
It's
still an explanation as to why, and it's very saddening.
Yeah.
Christa's mom, she didn't care, but as Christa started to get older, she's like, hey, I'm gonna bond with Christa. Let's just roll one up and have a good time. So she starts smoking pot with her kid.
At 15 years old.
So, so you can imagine this is not your typical, like, mother-daughter relationship.
15 years old, I'm going home to smoke a blunt with mom.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to be her friend, and I thought that maybe that would help us to be able to be closer together. So we did smoke marijuana together.
So there were no rules and no routines. This child was feral. She did whatever she wanted to do.
That's probably why she ended up the way she was. She had no set of rules.
Absolutely. And she was, mom didn't care. She was like, do whatever you want. Just don't bother my boyfriend. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And when she, like I said, she would get sick of being with her mom, she would go to her dad's house, and she was back and forth there. And she struggled in school, obviously, because she was just tossed back and forth. She had no structure. She ended up dropping out of high school.
She got her GED, and
that gave Christa more time to just get into trouble.
Right.
So she started to shoplift and commit little crimes and stuff.
I think she was kind of addicted to the thrill of doing things that were wrong.
She really seemed like she wanted to get caught. Like, she didn't even try to hide any crime.
That's what I'm saying,
She was just like, I did it. Okay, let me brag about it too. That's the way she seemed. Like, she really had no logical reasoning. It almost seems like she's living within her lizard brain.
Right.
Which she is. Yeah. Christa ended up spending some time in a detention center for a little bit.
She went to
juvie after her shoplifting incident. And after her time was up there, she was like, I'm going to change my life around. So what'd she do?
She joined the Job Corps.
Yeah.
Sounded like a great opportunity, which it was for a while in Knoxville.
Right. In their website, it says that they help eligible young people ages 16 through 24 complete their high school education and train them for meaningful careers and assist them with obtaining employment.
And they come from different backgrounds.
Yes,
that's something
it's
that we'll
not
get to
just criminals trying to change their lives.
Right.
It's literally just a program for people.
Youth.
Exactly. So this can include many people, and we're speaking about people that are straight edge per se.
Mm-hmm.
They don't drink, do drugs. They follow the rules. They're within the limits. They just came from a poor side of town, but they went into this and they're trying to do something with their life, right? She's in there in Job Corps. She ends up having a good time. She found two best friends.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of them we talked to, her name is Kim. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. Seriously.
Speaking
I really appreciate it.
Very appreciated. She filled in a lot of details as far as things that we really didn't have a clue about, like who Christa was, how she acted. She was so sweet, so endearing, so caring. She just made you feel good. She was, she
brighten up the room.
Exactly. At Job Corps at 18, she turns her life around. She enrolls in the program. She wants to be a nurse, just like her mom, which is wonderful.
She had good intentions from the start.
Really. But she just didn't have the follow through because she was impulsive. I feel like she was just impulsive.
Seems like it.
Yeah, she didn't have structure, no authority. She just seemed impulsive. Like she just acted on her emotions at the time.
Also, and I'm not sure if this was diagnosed before or after she committed the crime, but she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and also post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
Both can make you pretty impulsive, really.
Right. While she was at Job Corps, she ended up meeting this young man. His name was Daryl Shipp. Mm-hmm. He was studying culinary arts, and together they were
perfect storm.
Perfect.
Very obsessed with each other. Yeah. Basically, they were hardly ever separate. Always all over each other. However, there was an issue.
Yeah. So before she came, apparently, Daryl liked, at the very least, he liked this girl, Colleen Slimmer. Christa finds out through rumors, people talk,
She's not happy.
She's not happy. She's
very jealous.
Very, very possessive person over this man.
Very jealous.
And she loves him. She is obsessed with you. Absolutely.
She got this idea in her head whenever she came over. Because whenever Christa got over to Job Corps, it was all about Daryl. And Daryl was all about Christa. He didn't even have Colleen on his radar, really.
Right.
It was not true. Right. She just got it in her head. So once she got this idea in her head, she and her friends would start to harass Colleen.
Right. Her and her other best friend, Shadola Peterson, they allegedly were into a little bit of the occult, magic,
the old Satanism.
Right. So between her best friend, Shadola, and between Daryl, and between Kim, who was, I feel for, she was absolutely deceived. I feel like she was deceived in a way.
Yeah.
Because Christa did not show her true colors at all. It was not until after the fact that she found out details like they were involved in Satanism and things of that nature. Yeah. But I think as young as they were in the 90s, it was the grunge. Everybody was depressed and alternative and wearing like weird jinkos and chains and shit. Yeah. So I feel like everybody was in their Kurt Cobain era, you know? Yeah. We were all like severely depressed back then for some reason.
But they were very into this. They really thought this was real.
But I think since they were so young, they were just kind of dabbling. I don't think it was serious.
I don't think that they had any actual material that was
of any kind,
of any substance.
Right.
I think they were just kind of drawing pentagrams places and trying to read Latin. Colleen even called her mother a lot, saying that she was being harassed by them, that she wanted to come back home. It was that bad.
Colleen Slimmer was from Jacksonville, Florida, and she was taking classes there for computer technology. Yeah. Smart girl.
IT gal.
Yeah. Smart girl. Like we said, there are some people in this program that genuinely wanted to better themselves and had the follow through.
And she was one of them.
And she was one of them. She was going to go somewhere. Yeah. And that's what's sad about this. Yeah. She did not.
The ages of them is what's really sad about it. Yeah. Because they had their whole lives in front of them. We're talking about 18, 19-year-olds, Yeah. Daryl was 17, I believe, at the time of the crime.
Right. The rumors spread around. There was some chemistry there, at the very least. She's jealous. She wasn't going to let another girl have her man. That's for sure.
Definitely.
So she was like, sometime in January in 1995, she said, I just feel mean. That's what she said. I just felt mean that day. That's what she said.
On the date of the crime, she told her roommate, I'm going to kill her.
Yeah. Yeah. She told Kim that too. And Kim told us that. She's like, she would joke about it.
Yeah.
And we thought joke about it at the very least. And how many times am I like, God, I'm going to kill you? I mean,
at least 50 times a day to me.
Literally. And the kids, like everybody. But am I going to act
Anybody
on it?
says that a lot of times. And
no.
Not very many people follow through with that.
No.
So,
well, at least you followed through with something.
Yeah, she had follow through with that. That we can definitely, hey, gold star. Gold, kind of not. Would you think that they were actually going to go bash her head in?
No.
I mean, mad maybe, but
yeah,
not like that
no.
kind of mad.
No. The following day, Christa and Colleen, they wanted to go kind of do a peace offering thing and go smoke off in the bushes where
Christa told her she'd smoke her out.
Yeah,
basically.
She's like, I got a little sack back here. Come back here, with Tadero and Shadola, and we're gonna have a little sesh, right?
Yeah.
So they go behind the building or whatever, and they're over there. Christa was gonna beat her ass. Like, at the very least, she was pissed about all these rumors. She thought Colleen had it out, wanted Tadero, whatever. She had it in her head so much, and she loved Tadero so much she would do anything for him. And she ended up having Shadola look out and Tadero sit there for a minute and watch her beat this girl. Like, kick her, punch her, beat her. Christa was going to kill Colleen as a human sacrifice.
Yeah, Colleen actually had no idea. She actually, before this happened, she asked where the weed was and like, where's the pot? Where are we going to smoke?
Yeah.
The people there, Shadola, I'm sure, said that that's when Christa snapped.
Right.
And when she snapped, like, we're talking about, she knocked her to the ground. They were kicking her, hitting her on the ground. Yeah. Anytime she tried to get up, they throw her back on the ground, start hitting her and kicking her everywhere.
And Tadero was just as much involved.
He was throwing her back to the ground.
They had brought a meat cleaver, a box cutter with them. Mm-hmm. So we know this was premeditated, obviously.
Yeah. Just Christa brought both those items, just to be clear.
So she knew she was about to throw down at least. And she said she just wanted to like beat her up, rough her up pretty good. But
she says that, but who brings a meat cleaver if you're going to go beat somebody up?
That's insane. For the next 30 minutes, Christa was torturing Colleen. And I mean, like you said, throwing her to the ground, viciously beating her. She had a meat cleaver. She had a box cutter. She actually cut a pentagram in this girl's chest belly area.
She held her down, actually, and Tadero was the one that actually did that.
I've heard both. It's back and forth, so we can't say one way or another who did the pentagram per se.
There was a picture that was cut on her chest. Who did that? I didn't have that. All right, don't tell me what it was. It was satanic stuff.
Somebody did. They were both equally as involved in this crime, and so was Shadola.
If you're standing by watching someone get brutally killed and you do nothing, you are just as bad.
Yeah, you are.
As the next person.
Absolutely. And what sucks is not only did they just beat her down, I mean, they took her back there and they humiliated her first. Yeah. They made her strip down, like take her bra and her shirt off and just humiliate her. Mm-hmm. And for 30 to 45 minutes, she was tormented. And they said from the puncture wounds and marks and stabs, the blood was there, which means she was alive.
Yeah, she was alive for almost the whole thing.
Yeah.
You get really frustrated that she wasn't dying.
That's right.
Because she was pleading for her life. Christa even told her that she needed to shut up because it was harder to kill somebody when they're talking.
And she sliced her skin more than 300 times
Can't remember
that box cutter.
Which one it was, but they couldn't count. I think it was either how many stab wounds that there were on her.
Yeah.
It was.
They couldn't count it. There were so many. They just said that it was more than 300 times. And that's insane. Colleen tried to talk to Christa while she was lying on the ground.
Yeah, she said she would do anything. She would move. She would leave, never come back.
She'd go back to Jacksonville. She would do anything. Just Christa, please stop begging for her life. Christa took a very large piece of asphalt and she knocked Colleen in the head.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yep.
So after Colleen's skull was bashed in, Christa picks up a piece of the skull and puts it
in her pocket.
Puts it in her pocket, just like it wasn't shit. Just my trophy, my souvenir.
Can we stop just for a second and talk about this? Why? If you're watching this out here, murderers, why do you keep things from the murder?
Because they're proud, I guess.
I get it, but if you don't want to get caught,
why would you keep something?
Why would you keep something?
Maybe they do want to get caught. Like Christa, she seemed to not give a shit.
She wanted to get caught. Yeah.
Right. She just seemed like she
confessed to all of it right off the bat.
Yeah. Krista would later describe that the gargling sounds that Colleen was making as she choked and suffocated on her own blood, it made it harder to kill her.
Yeah.
Is what she said. It made it harder to kill her, and she told her to just shut up so she could kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she even told somebody she was going to eat breakfast with her skull. She was showing it off at Job Corps.
Yeah. She actually didn't even make much of an effort to hide the body. They drug it over on top of some debris and then covered it with some leaves and left it.
Yeah. They didn't even care. It was just like, meh. Fuck you, Colleen. We're just going to throw some leaves over you.
At 10:15 p.m., 3 people came back instead of 4.
She didn't try to hide anything.
No.
Her roommate was there. She was bragging to her roommate that she had killed her.
Almost like in a sing-song, like, oh, I killed her.
Exactly. And the roommate didn't believe her, obviously, until she pulled out a piece of the freaking skull.
I'm sure her brain did gymnastics at that point.
Right. And later on, the roommate would testify that Christa appeared to be pretty proud.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was proud. She was happy. Yeah. She was gloating about it.
Yeah. She was smiling, dancing around. And she retold the story.
She was dancing around in a circle.
Who was dancing around in the circle?
Christa.
Dancing around the circle while she was telling you about this?
Yes.
Was she doing anything else?
She was smiling.
Making any other noises or anything?
She was kind of saying la la la.
Nobody went to the police for 2 days. 2 days.
It was when she was in school and she was talking to a classmate about it. And they said that she had some mud on her shoe. Whenever they told her about it, she said, oh no, that's blood, and wiped it so they could see the red.
Oof.
So they ended up going to the police. Good on you for that.
Yeah. So
seriously.
Later, a Job Corps employee actually stumbled upon the body, and they thought that it was animal remains because
it was that badly.
It was that badly mangled. Discovering the body and looking closer, they did find out it's a human. So they called the police.
Yeah.
Come down there. They said the cause of the death was obviously blunt force trauma.
They said it was one of the worst scenes they had seen in a lot of police officers' whole careers.
Yeah.
The body was so mangled up, like we were saying, that it was unrecognizable. They had to check her teeth to figure out who she was.
Yeah. She was just so badly brutalized, the first responding officer couldn't tell. Medical examiner noted each of the wounds were red, which meant Colleen was alive at the time of the torturing.
Yeah.
45 minutes of torture. That poor woman.
It was very, very egregious crime.
They said that when her throat was cut and the pentagram was sliced into her skin, Christa had bragged about killing to anyone who would listen to her. They immediately went to Christa. The police did, obviously.
Yeah, she was so proud of it. It's like getting a new pair of Nikes for her or something. You know, hey, check out my piece of skull I got, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like,
look at it.
How do you see this? That's sanity. Wow. They brought her in to the station for questioning, obviously.
Right.
And come to find out, she did it. She confessed to the entire thing. She was just the whole thing.
Thank you. I just
They found her jeans soaked with Colleen's blood, and she showed investigators the dumped evidence too, including her ID. Then she retraced her steps back to the scene of the crime. She gave them all the details that they would need to build a nice, solid case against her.
She didn't care.
The school counselor discovered a jacket Christa left in her office, and guess what's in that pocket?
The piece of skull.
You know it. Christa would give a lengthy confession about all the things, all the horrors that she inflicted upon Colleen, and she was just ruthless.
She would go into very graphic detail.
Christa wrote that the two young women had been having issues for a while, just like they had said. She was kind of picking on her, and it was over Christa's boyfriend, Daryl Shipp, that apparently Colleen was pursuing him. This is what she said.
Yeah, Christa tells a different story.
Right. So she said she just wanted to scare her.
Yeah.
And stop running her mouth, basically, and to leave her alone. Which, who brings a meat cleaver and a box cutter to just rough her up? Just, beat her ass. This doesn't make sense. None of it.
She claimed that Colleen was harassing her. That she had taken and torn up her clothes and cut them up and destroyed 2/3 of her family album of pictures, putting cigarette burns in her grandma's picture. I think that it's a complete lie, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. She described at one point how she thought she heard someone walking around the corner, so they stopped the attack to look around. Colleen took this opportunity to try and get up and run away, but Christa pushed her back down to the ground and began kicking her in the face.
Yeah.
Christa said she wanted to put Colleen out of her pain and misery, so she did her a favor by hitting her in the head with a large piece of asphalt.
Basically,
she did her a favor? So torturing her for 30 to 45 minutes is doing her a favor?
She basically treated her like an animal, like you would do a deer or something you hit on the side of the road. Like, oh, well, he's pretty damaged, so he's not going to make it. Let's just shoot him.
Yeah, let's just shoot him. She ended up selling out her boyfriend and her friend. She named Daryl and Shadola as her co-conspirators.
Yep.
On March 30th, 1996, Pike entered the Deborah K. Johnson Prison for Women.
Which is exactly where she belongs.
She was charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder.
Yep.
Her attorneys tried to argue that she had a diminished mental capacity and very severe borderline personality disorder.
Which is true.
Very true. They also pointed to her difficult upbringing and the fact that she smoked ridiculous amounts of marijuana.
That she's dependent on it, but meh.
Dr. Jonathan Henry Pincus studied Christa Pike's brain and found that her frontal lobes were not grown together properly. It's the frontal lobe where the sense of right and wrong is developed and recorded.
Yeah, that too.
So, I mean, she doesn't know right from wrong. That's why she didn't care. That's why she left it. I really believe that. Yeah. Absolutely. He testified that he believed Christa was doomed from the beginning, which I also think.
Yeah.
Her mother was pregnant and drank heavily, he proved, and it resulted in Christa's brain not forming. He continued to say that every killer he had ever examined their brain had this condition as well, where their frontal lobe didn't grow together properly. So
personalities match closer to that of a serial killer.
It really does. This isn't an excuse by any means for her actions at all. It's an explanation. Who said that? She didn't have a good upbringing. She already had brain damage. These things had occurred. But the fact of the matter is she brought a meat cleaver and a box cutter with her and had already been talking about this. So it was premeditated.
Yeah.
She had tons of time to think about it. It wasn't something that just snapped.
Oh, a meat cleaver just popped in my hand.
Yeah. She did not just snap. I really believe that. I think she was just snapped from the beginning. Honestly.
She's wanting to be on Snapped.
She was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder because she obviously premeditated that.
Sure did.
It only took the jury 2 hours to find her guilty.
Wonder why.
Ordered that you shall be put to death by electrocution in the mode prescribed by law, and that you shall be transferred to the custody of the warden at the Tennessee Prison for Women. And further, on the 12th day of January, 1997, your body shall be subjected to shock by sufficient current of electricity. May God have mercy upon you. Mr. Bates, take Mr. Pike into the door.
Can I please have my mom before I go?
Mr. Bates, please hold Ms. Pike in the dock.
Please, let me just love my mom.
Please hold Ms. Pike in the dock.
I love you. I love you too.
Let's talk about her. She was in prison and obviously had absolutely no remorse for this crime whatsoever because she wrote to Daryl a letter right after. Okay. This letter reads, please write me. I miss you so much. You see what I get for trying to be nice to the hoe? I went ahead and bashed her brains out so she'd die quickly instead of letting her bleed to death and suffer more. And they fucking fry me? Ain't that some shit? Please write me and tell me what you're feeling. Also, tell your lawyer if he wants me to testify for you. I will. Love you for the rest of my life. Little devil.
Ain't that some shit, Christa?
Damn, Christa. To Daryl Shipp, he ended up getting convicted of murder as well. He was sentenced to life.
Yeah, 25 to life for him.
They should, with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to get it. I really
don't. Not with this crime. It was just too violent.
Right. She was made an example of. I know she was the main perpetrator, but at the same time, she was made an example of, I feel. And Krista's best friend, Shadola, which wasn't a best friend, obviously, she turned state's fucking evidence and she ratted them all out. And guess what? Shadola Peterson got her role in the fucking murder.
6 months.
And probation.
Read that again, folks.
Yeah.
I didn't say years.
No.
I said 6 months.
Because
she stood idly by, watching a girl get brutally murdered and tortured for 30 minutes, and she got 6 months.
I have no soul for that. Man, that ain't right. She should have got harsher. I think she is out walking around right now, guys. She's walking around free. And it wasn't that she just watched a murder. She was involved.
Yeah.
She knew about it. Yeah. She knew the premeditation. And when they thought somebody was there, she was the lookout. So she told them, hey, stop for a minute. Hold on.
See, this is what pisses me off about this case. There were 3 people in this case that were involved. There was no real difference between their involvement, in my opinion. Christa, sure, she stabbed her, sliced her, bludgeoned her, and everything else. She was the main aggressor, violence-wise.
Absolutely.
So Daryl was also with her on that count. Shadola was looking out. She may not have stabbed her. She may not have cut her. She may not have bludgeoned her. But she sure stood idly by and let them do it and helped them out with it.
They're just as guilty in my book.
And they didn't all get the same punishment, which I think they all deserved the same punishment.
25 to life.
Yes.
Because she turned state's evidence, she just magically got off. So, Christa was sentenced to death by electrocution, capital punishment, which is really unheard of for a female because the last female that was executed in Tennessee, that was 200 years ago.
It's actually in 1837, I looked up.
1837.
Yeah. So it's been that long since we've executed a woman.
Right. And while she was 18, when she entered death row, she still sits on death row today. She had a date at one point, but COVID messed it up. So she's just still chilling on death row. But in 2004, she was in prison and got in a tiff with another girl in there named Patricia Jones. She tried to strangle her with a shoelace. Christa didn't try to hide it, nothing. She confessed to the entire thing, of course, on a phone call, of all things, with her
she
mother.
Messed up there.
Yeah, just
dry snitching.
Just dry snitching, yeah. Exactly.
If you don't know what that means, you need to ask somebody.
Yeah, ask somebody. So allegedly, she was recorded saying, "I wrapped that shoestring around her and tried to choke the life out of her. She was passed out on the ground, mama, twitching, foaming at the mouth. Her eyeballs was bugged out so far her eyelids were flipped up." The shit this woman says.
Like, she just absolutely does not care.
She was charged with first-degree attempted murder in 2012. She tried to escape.
Yeah.
So she made a plan with another inmate and a guard, I guess, or corrections officer, whatever you want to call him. It obviously failed. She was never charged for the attempt, though. I'm sure it was so dumb. They were just like...
It had something crazy to do. Like, I looked it up, and the guard apparently was having a relationship with her. You guys know what I mean? And she also had a guy that she was pen pals with that was in New Jersey. Okay. So the plan was basically to bribe their way out of prison somehow. The corrections guard actually told the whole thing. He was fired. The guy from New Jersey actually got 6 years for like attempted bribery and all. And of course, Christa got punishment, but I mean, what are you gonna do after you got death?
Yeah, exactly.
She got 25 to life for the attempted murder.
Right.
But
what's that gonna do?
Right.
Again, reincarnate,
Right.
your sentence. Colleen's mother at this point, May Martinez, she petitioned the court to finally set a date for her execution. She said, "I want this to happen before I die. Otherwise, nobody will see justice."
I want Christa down so I can end it, relieve my daughter, so she finally can be resting. Honestly, my heart breaks every single day because I keep reliving it, and I can't no more. And I want this to happen before I die. Otherwise, nobody will see justice.
Her attorneys want her death sentence to be commuted to life behind bars due to her deteriorating mental health and the brain damage afflicted upon her because of her abusive childhood and her mother drinking in utero. In 2020, a Judge Scott Glenn dismissed her bid to reopen the case to pursue post-conviction relief.
They were sick of it. You got to understand, Christa got charged, but she appealed a lot. Actually, it began in 2001. 2001, she actually appealed to have the date expedited.
Yeah.
She wanted it sped up. She's like, go ahead and just get it over with.
Right.
2002, she appealed again for the same thing. She was actually granted that.
Yeah.
But then a month later, she appealed again to have a continuance of appeal. So at first it was denied and then brought back up again. And then she was allowed to continue to appeal.
Which follows the borderline thing perfectly. Yeah. The back and like, she's a myth.
And she appealed for a new trial in 2008, which obviously is not really too much to go over. So it was denied.
The only woman on death row recently asked the court to spare her life, but today a Knox County judge rejected that.
And she's out of appeals, I believe, at this point. So Christa will end up sitting on death row until they get her a date. As of right now, she does not have a date set. Apparently, she had a date set in 2020, but because of COVID, she ended up not getting fried. You know, Sparky Smoky. I don't know what it's called, but Sparky Smoky.
I don't know. I have to ask the Department of Corrections.
Maybe We should do a field trip.
That would be kind of cool.
It would
go
be
to the
kind of
prison
cool.
system.
Let's go to the prison. As of now, Christa is 48 years old,
Yep.
still sitting on death row.
She's actually spent more of her time in prison now than she was free.
30 years.
Yeah.
And she was 18 out. This girl never stood a chance. I personally would like to highlight on this case what I took from it, and it was more of a mental illness thing, like a severe brain damage.
Daryl Holton, he had mental issues as well. We went over that. It seems to be a common theme.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, if you're killing people, obviously you have some kind of mental thing going on, because you don't just generally go around killing people unless you're the army or something like that. Then you do get to generally go around and kill people.
Yeah.
I think Christa is going to sit for a good long while.
I don't think she's going to get a date.
I don't think she's ever going to get a date. I think she's right.
I really don't think she's going to get a date, only for the simple fact I feel like there would be so much civil unrest about it. She's going to die before she fries.
Yeah. Basically, she even said she doesn't think that she's going to ever see the electric chair.
I don't know that she will, honestly. Yeah. I really don't think she will.
I would rather see her serve life in prison than I would to see her fry. Just as simply because, and I say this with all criminals, I don't believe in the death sentence. And it's not because it seems barbaric. It's because it's not a real punishment to me.
Yeah. They get to cop out.
Yeah. They cop out. They're gone. You know, after 2 or 3 years, they get to just get executed, and that's the end of the sentence.
Right.
No. You sit in there and you rot until you die.
Right.
That's exactly how it should be.
Absolutely. Agreed. On a positive note, we'll end this by saying thank you to you guys for tuning in every week.
Thank you so much.
Wednesdays, 7 p.m.
Central Standard Time.
Keep writing in to murderofmayhem@gmail.com so we can hear your Halloween stories for Tennessee hauntings. We're
still taking in stories for that.
So you guys keep writing in. We are having a blast. We have several stories laid out already.
Love reading them.
We are looking forward to having you.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.